Right now, somewhere in the world, a woman is showing a man exactly how she feels about him. Not with words, not with a text message, but with four specific parts of her body that she cannot stop herself from revealing when attraction takes over. And here's the part that might surprise you. Most men never see it, they miss it. Again and again. And by the time they finally realize what was happening, she's already gone. But not you. Not after today. Because in this video, I'm going to show you something that will completely change the way you see every interaction with a woman from this point forward. Hi, I'm Olivia, and welcome to Psychology Secrets with Olivia. And today, we're not just talking about attraction, we're decoding it. Because attraction doesn't always speak in words. It speaks through the body, quietly, honestly, and almost impossibly easy to miss if you don't know what you're looking for. And I want you to be honest with yourself for a moment. How many times have you walked away from a conversation thinking, I'm not sure if she liked me, only to replay it later in your head and wonder if you missed something, or worse? Have you ever realized days later that she was interested, but the moment had already passed? If that's ever happened to you, you're not alone. And more importantly, there's nothing wrong with you. You were just never taught how to see what was already right in front of you. And if you're watching this right now, I want you to feel this. This isn't just information. This is awareness. Because from this moment forward, you're going to start noticing things you've never noticed before. You're going to see patterns, signals, subtle moments that used to pass you by. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Now, here's something fascinating. A study published in Evolution and Human Behavior found that women communicate romantic interest primarily through nonverbal signals, and they do it multiple times before most men even begin to notice. Think about that. She's already communicating long before you even realize a conversation has meaning. And here's why this matters so much. Because the human body is terrible at keeping secrets. You can say the right things, you can try to act casual, you can play it cool, but your body, it tells the truth every single time. And the same is true for her. So while she might be talking about her job, her weekend, something completely normal, there are actually two conversations happening at once. One you can hear and one you have to learn to see. And today, I'm going to teach you how to see it. Let's start with the first signal. And honestly, this one alone can change everything. The neck. Now, I don't mean just seeing her neck, I mean how she uses it. When a woman tilts her head slightly while talking to you, when she brushes her hair to one side, when her fingers move to her neck without her even realizing it, something very specific is happening because the neck is one of the most vulnerable areas on the human body. It protects vital structures, arteries, airways, life itself, and from a deeply instinctive level, we don't expose vulnerable areas unless we feel safe or drawn to someone. So when she tilts her head and leaves her neck open toward you, what her body is really saying is, I feel comfortable here. I trust this moment. I'm open. And here's something I want you to pay attention to. It's rarely just one movement. It's a pattern. She might touch her neck once, then adjust her necklace, then brush her hair again a few minutes later. That repetition, that's not random. That's her body speaking. And the reason this is so powerful is because most of the time, she doesn't even know she's doing it. Let me make this real for you. There was a moment in my life, like sitting across from someone I was genuinely attracted to. And in the moment, I felt calm, composed, completely normal. But later, when I replayed that interaction in my mind, I realized something I hadn't noticed at all. My hand had been on my neck almost the entire time, playing with my necklace, brushing my hair, touching the same spot again and again. I didn't decide to do that. My body did. And that's what you need to understand. Attraction doesn't always begin in the mind. Sometimes the body speaks first. Now, before we move on, I want you to do something small. The next time you're talking to a woman, just observe. Don't analyze. Don't overthink. Just notice. Because awareness is the first shift. And if this is already opening your eyes even a little bit, take a second to like this video. Not for me, but because it helps more people stop missing these moments every single day. Now let's go deeper. The second signal is even more subtle, and almost nobody talks about it. The wrists, specifically the inner wrists. I know that sounds oddly specific, but stay with me because once you understand this, You'll start seeing it everywhere. When a woman is attracted to someone, she unconsciously begins to expose the soft underside of her wrists. She might gesture with her palms slightly upward, rest her chin in a way that reveals her wrist, or place her hands in a relaxed, open position. And just like the neck, this is about vulnerability. Because think about what your body does when you feel uncomfortable. You close off, arms cross, hands tighten, wrists turn inward. Everything protects itself. But when attraction is present, the opposite happens. The body opens, and the wrists are one of the clearest indicators of that openness. But there's something even deeper happening here. The inner wrist is a pulse point, warm, sensitive. It's actually one of the places where scent is naturally released, which is why perfume is often applied there. So when she subtly turns her wrist toward you, she's not just being expressive. Her body is making her presence more noticeable, on a level you don't consciously register. Let me give you a real-life example. A friend of mine once told me about a date she went on. She said the conversation felt normal, nothing extraordinary, but she found the guy incredibly attractive. Later, she looked at a photo from that night, and something stood out instantly. Her hands were completely open in front of her, wrists facing upward, relaxed, soft, inviting, and she laughed. Because she hadn't realized she was doing that at all. Her body had already made a decision, before her mind caught up. And this is where things start getting really interesting. Because when you begin to notice both of these signals together, the neck and the wrists, you're no longer looking at random behavior. You're seeing a pattern of openness, comfort, and growing attraction. And we're just getting started, because the third signal is the one most men think they understand, but almost always misread. And once you see it the right way, it changes everything. Because the third signal is the one almost every man thinks he understands, but most get completely wrong. Her legs. Now, before your mind jumps to the obvious, slow down for a second, because this has nothing to do with what she's wearing or how much skin is showing. That's surface level thinking. What actually matters is something far more subtle: direction, positioning, and movement. Let me ask you something simple. The next time you're standing in a group of people, where do your feet naturally point? You don't think about it, right? They just go somewhere. And that's exactly the point. The lower body is one of the least consciously controlled parts of human behavior. While people carefully manage their facial expressions, choose their words, try to say the right thing, their feet, their legs, they quietly reveal the truth. So here's what happens when a woman is attracted to you. Her legs will orient toward you. Even if she's talking to someone else, even if her upper body is slightly turned away, if her feet are pointing toward you, her subconscious has already chosen you. And once you start noticing this, you won't be able to unsee it. You'll walk into a room, and suddenly everything looks different. You'll see someone facing one direction, but their feet telling a completely different story. Now here's another layer that most people miss: the way she crosses her legs. If she's sitting and crosses her legs in a way that the top leg points toward you, that's an inviting signal. It's subtle, but psychologically, she's opening a line between you and her. But if that top leg points away from you, that creates distance. Not rejection necessarily, but not openness either. And this is where so many men misunderstand what's happening. They focus on what's obvious and completely miss what's honest. Now let's go deeper, and because this is where it gets really fascinating. There's something I want you to start noticing. I call it the restless energy effect. When a woman is attracted to you, her body doesn't just open, it activates. There's a kind of internal energy, a subtle tension, a quiet excitement, and that energy has to go somewhere. So sometimes it shows up in her legs. She might bounce her foot slightly, shift her legs more often, cross and uncross slowly without realizing it. And here's where most people get it wrong. They interpret that as boredom. But in many cases, it's the opposite. It's stimulation. Her nervous system is engaged. There's dopamine, there's anticipation, there's awareness of you, and her body is responding in real time. So not all movement means disinterest. Sometimes movement means she's feeling something she hasn't fully processed yet. And then there's one behavior that's incredibly powerful once you notice it: the slow cross and uncross. Not exaggerated, not dramatic, just natural. but incredibly revealing because her body is saying, notice me. And the most important part, she's not thinking about it. She's not planning it. It's happening automatically because attraction is not a strategy. It's a response. Now pause for a second and think about your past interactions. How many times were these signals happening, but you didn't recognize them? If this is starting to click for you, drop a comment below. Tell me what you've noticed. I read those, and it helps me understand what you're experiencing in the real world. Now, let's bring everything together because the fourth signal is the most powerful of all, her torso, the center of her body, her chest, her stomach, her core. This is where everything vital is protected. And because of that, this is where the truth shows up the clearest. When a woman feels safe, comfortable, and attracted to you, she will face you fully, not halfway, not at an angle, fully. And this matters more than you think. Because when we feel uncomfortable, we angle away, we create distance, we protect ourselves. But when we feel drawn to someone, we open, we orient, we face them completely. And here's something even more powerful. She will keep coming back to that position. Even if the conversation shifts, even if she turns briefly, her body will return to you because attention always reveals itself physically. Let me give you a moment that made this crystal clear. I was at a social gathering, standing in a group, casually talking, nothing special, nothing intentional, but later. Someone showed me a photo from that moment and it caught me off guard. Everyone else was slightly angled, but me? My entire body was fully facing one person, locked in, even though I was talking to others. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. Your body reveals your focus before your mind admits it. And once you understand that, everything changes. Because now you're not just listening, you're seeing. Now here's where it becomes undeniable. These signals don't happen alone, they cluster. She's not just exposing her neck, she's also opening her wrists. Her legs are angled toward you, her torso is facing you fully. And when you see multiple of these at the same time, that's no longer subtle, that's clarity, that's consistency, that's attraction. Now here's where most men make a mistake. They finally recognize it, and then they freeze. They hesitate. They start thinking, what if I'm wrong? What if I ruin it? What if I misread this? And in that hesitation, the moment disappears. So let's talk about what actually matters now. Not just seeing the signals, but responding to them. Because attraction isn't just about recognition, it's about timing. Let me take you into a real moment. You're sitting across from her. The conversation is flowing, not perfect, but easy. There's eye contact, there's space, there's comfort. You notice the signals. She touches her neck. Her wrists are open. Her body is angled toward you. And then there's a pause, a natural one. Not awkward, just quiet. Now here's what most people do. They rush to fill it. They grab for words. They break the moment because silence makes them uncomfortable. But that silence, that's not empty. It's charged. That's where connection lives. So instead, stay there just for a second. Hold eye contact. A little longer, not staring, not forcing, just present. And watch. If she stays with you, if she doesn't pull away, if her body remains open, that's your answer. Now I want to be very clear about something. This is not about pressure. This is not about forcing anything. This is about awareness. You're not creating attraction. You're recognizing it and meeting it. And that's a completely different energy. Now let's talk about something people misunderstand. Escalation. It sounds like something big, something risky, something bold. But real escalation feels natural. If she leans in, you lean in slightly too. If she holds eye contact, you hold it a moment longer. If the distance closes, you allow it. You're not pushing, you're matching. That's what confidence actually looks like, not speed, presence. Now, here's a simple exercise you can start using immediately. The next time you're talking to a woman, stop trying to impress her. Instead, observe. Notice her body language. Then gently mirror one small thing. If she leans forward, you lean slightly forward. If she slows down, you slow down. If she relaxes, you relax. This is called behavioral mirroring, and it creates a subconscious sense of connection. But it has to be subtle. You're not copying, you're syncing. Now let's address something real. What if you're wrong? Good. That uncertainty is healthy Because you're not supposed to assume. You're supposed to observe, then test gently. Maybe you hold eye contact longer. Maybe you lean in slightly, then you watch. Does she meet you there, or does she pull back? Because her response will always tell you more than your thoughts ever will. And here's the truth I want you to remember. Attraction is a two-way experience. You don't chase it, you step into it. If she opens, you open. If she creates distance, you respect it. That's emotional intelligence in real time. So let me ask you something deeper. What would change in your life if you stopped second-guessing these moments? If instead of replaying interactions later, you started recognizing them while they were happening? That's the shift. That's what we're building here, awareness. And if you've made it this far, I want you to take a second, because you're already ahead of most people. So if this gave you clarity, subscribe to the channel, not just as a click, but as a commitment to understanding human behavior on a deeper level, because the more you understand, the more natural everything becomes. Now let's bring this full circle. You know the 4 signals, you see the patterns, you understand how to respond, but there's one final piece, timing. Because even when attraction is there, even when everything feels right, there's a moment, a small one, where everything either moves forward or fades away. And here's the truth most people never say. That moment doesn't wait. It doesn't repeat itself perfectly. If you miss it, sometimes it's gone. That's why so many connections feel like almost something real, but not quite. So from this point forward, when you feel that moment, don't rush it, but don't ignore it either. Stay in it, let it build, and then take a small step forward. Not a leap, a step. Because attraction grows in steps, not jumps. And the more you trust yourself in those moments, the more natural everything becomes. And if this video opened your eyes even a little, share it. Share. Because there are so many people out there missing signals every single day. Not because they don't care, but because no one ever showed them what to look for. And I'll leave you with this. The next time you're in a conversation and you notice her neck open, her wrists soften, her legs orient toward you, and her body fully face you, you'll know something. She might not even fully realize yet. She's already leaning toward you. The only question is, will you meet her there?